What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Reseller's Life. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, we're going to go over a store that's doing, I would guess, around $7,000 per month in sales. And they're using a lot of tricks to try to hack the promoted listings rate and get the extra traffic that people are looking for with that. And I'm going to try to debunk some of those myths and also go over the fact that this promoted listings hack doesn't really work, including one of my favorite hacks that doesn't work but sounds like it would work. But let's get straight into it. This is Andy's store. Andy's in Missouri. Andy, thank you for sending this in. If you guys are looking for a review as well, you can grab one at patreon.com/dailyrefinement. They're $35. This store, if you look at the sell-through rate, it's pretty decent. I would guess that Andy is selling 200 items a month roughly, and if you look through the solds, anywhere between $6 and $25 is what he's selling items for on average. This store literally is the epitome of a garage sale store. Nothing wrong with that. If you look at the sell-through rate, it's very strong. Usually when people sell this type of stuff, they do not have this type of sell-through rate. Also, Andy is letting me know that he's getting a 50% return on his investment. Not bad. I think he had mentioned that it's a 50% total profit. I don't think it's that high unless he's getting most of this stuff close to free. He might be a Goodwill outlet or pure thrift or garage store type person. Judging by what's in his store, I can tell you, number one, the main problem with this store is the product mix. There's way too many items in this store that are under $12 and not enough items in this store that are home run, and you need those in order to survive. So this store right here would require, I would say, 3,000 to 5,000 items to really make a full-time income because the items are so cheap. These items are so common that they're not going to yield that high return that people are looking for. And I would even move towards, let me give you an example. I sell a lot of hard drives online that I sort of realized were valuable after thrifting. I would find some pre-owned for $2 or $3 and sell them for $50 to $200. I started looking for these items brand new online to supplement it. So yes, sometimes I spend $250 to make $30, but it's pretty much a guaranteed sale. There's no listing, and it's really helping me level up because $30 of profit is a lot for the amount of work you do for a listing, especially if it's replenishable. So the big problem in this store is definitely product mix. There's way too many categories. Andy, I got to give it to you. You're doing a phenomenal job of listing all these random items really, really well. Great titles, great photographs. The one thing I will ask you to improve on your photographs is that some of them are dark. Andy has about 500 hats in his store. Hats is a great category, but doesn't have necessarily a super high sell-through rate, but not seasonal. So definitely not a tough category, but if you look at the hat when you type it in, this definitely looks like a garage sale because every single photo looks different. There's no consistency. There's no framing. So for me, looking at it from a merchandising standpoint, it looks like someone's garage. Or if you go into, like a flea market, there's hats everywhere in random places. That's what this looks like. You're going to get probably, I would say, $2 to $5 more a hat if it was just presented cleaner, like a specific background. You have a mannequin, you need a much brighter background. So I would recommend maybe a light that shines behind the object so you can get a crisper pop, so it looks a little bit more premium. Right now it looks okay. You probably have really low returns and you have tons of excellent vintage gear, which makes me super happy because this stuff sells well year round. Like right here, you have a New Era hat that you can't even see the front logo. So merchandising wise is going to be huge. I'm going to go over a couple of Andy's tactics with promoted listings right now. One, he's using sometimes trending rate, sometimes using trending +1, and sometimes he's just doing 1%. And this is my favorite. And this is from a few different sellers, which is they do trending +10% or something like that for a couple of days, have that really high rate, and then they lower it to 0 or 1%, thinking that if they do that, eBay will not charge them a promoted listings rate because the listing is at 0% when it sells. But that's not how it works. eBay's not that dumb. They have a 30-day cookie that's attached to that click. So if the person buys it within 30 days, you're going to get hit with that promoted listings rate. So there's no use in changing that constantly and starting really high and then moving it around. That being said, it's pretty obvious that immediately when you turn promoted listings on, you get a bump in sales. That seems to happen, followed by a crash. That's just what people are experiencing. Because of my own personal experience with that, I no longer use promoted listings at all. And I'm not having an issue with sell-through rate, but a lot of those things that I sell are over $30, and I'm selling as much as I can brand new to prevent having issues predicting what sell-through rate is. When you're selling pre-owned items, you're kind of at the mercy of the market, meaning you might have a pair of size 9 work boots that for some reason doesn't sell at $25, but you're seeing size 11, 12, even size 5 sell at twice as much money, twice as often. It's just difficult with pre-owned items because you're looking for a very specific buyer at a certain time. So you have to have a pretty massive store, or you have to start lowering your prices to like $10, $12, $14, including shipping, which is very scary to play in that super, super cheap market because you got to do crazy churn to make it work. So Andy, I love your store. The promoted listings game, I either recommend just turning it off. Right now, you are really distracted because you have so many categories and so many listings up. I think that it's really difficult to manage a store over 2,400 listings. And a 2,400 listing store is around 30 listings a day listing. And that's going to be 30 listings a day, 5 days a week. That's around 600 to 800 sales per month. That's sort of doable for someone who's really hustling. I don't know if you have kept your full-time job or not, but Andy mentioned in his email that why can't I be one of those people that runs his own business, makes his own schedule, does whatever he wants. And I want to let you know, Andy, you are well on your way, but more importantly, almost no one I know does that. It's very rare. Most of the popular resellers that I know got there by keeping their full-time job and pumping in capital until their store had around $50,000 to $100,000 listed. Then they're really generating that amount of money. Your store, I would just guess from looking at it, has around 30 to 35,000 listed. That's pretty strong, but there's no hacking your way to, $15,000 in sales when you have 30,000 listed. You can't sell half your stuff, no matter how fast or how many tricks or promoted listings things you do. You just don't have enough dollar value worth of stuff listed. So you've got to increase the amount listed. And the way to do that is either list more expensive items or triple this to, 5,000 listings. But again, that's very hard to manage because now you're listing 30 to 50 items a day. And that starts to become a nightmare, especially if the quality of your listings starts to dip. Now, I'm impressed your store, the quality of the titles remains the same. The quality of the pricing is okay, although you do have some variants. Some are free shipping, some you charge for shipping. I would remove best offer completely on most of your items. There's no reason to have best offer on a $23 retro Ford dealership hat. I'd actually charge more. Your vintage items, you need to charge more. And then your basic shirts, like your Hurley shirt, there's a Hurley shirt on here that brand new would be $15. How much can you really sell a pre-owned one in your store? That's taking up too much mental real estate. Don't list that in your store. Even if you get it for free, it costs you $2 or $3 in time to list that item. Everyone that's listening right now, please factor $3 minimum for your time to list an item. So think about that before you list a $10 item or a $12 item. $3 is your personal time cost to get that online. For most of you, it's even higher, especially if you are a primo picker. And I want to point this out too. Picking is the most valuable part of reselling for two reasons. One, a talented picker can pick really high ASP items, average sale price. And if you're picking something for $50 and you're paying $5, you're going to be okay. Secondly, you are discovering trends that normal people wouldn't notice because they're not in the trenches looking. If you're looking and you find out that, vintage clasps vintage makeup clasps. I forgot what that term is. If you guys know what those are called. Oh, compacts. Vintage compacts sell for a really good amount. Right now, maybe there's only 30 people in the US that know that. You can hop on there, start killing it for a while. That's why sourcing is so valuable and why I still source, okay? Even though it seems to be a better use of my time just sourcing online, I'm out there looking for what's hot next, and it's very, very, very useful. So, Andy, you're obviously doing a lot of shopping to figure this out, but I almost think go to twice as many stores and buy half as much stuff. You're going to turn this 1,800 item store into a 500 item store of more expensive stuff. And that's going to give you some more mental real estate to adjust. It's very difficult to run a store that's this many items and this low of price. Can't reiterate that enough. Okay. Let's keep looking and see if there are any other tips I can offer you. Yeah, in summary, there's too many categories. I don't want you to double your store. I want you to triple your average sale price. I want you to remove best offer, and I definitely want much brighter pictures. This scares me right now with how dim and how inconsistent the photos are. So again, that will actually save you a lot of time having a designated area that you use to take your photos in your setup. Streamline that so that you can make it quick, but you would need definitely around, let's say your average hat's $20 to get the $50,000 listed. You would need 2,500 hats to make a living on eBay. That's a lot. Okay, so don't get discouraged. You're doing a fantastic job. You just don't have enough dollar amount listed in your store. Dollar amount, not number of listings. Get that dollar amount up to 50K, then email me again. Let me review your store again, look at it, because there's going to be only two ways to get there. Double the stuff in your store or start selling more expensive stuff. Or on this vintage stuff, maybe charge $5 more or $10 more and get rid of shipping charges. There's no reason to charge somebody. Actually, do you even charge? Good. You're not charging shipping on your hats, which is fantastic. But I would definitely charge a little bit more. And this is another thing that I think is confusing. You're using right now the Markdown Manager, and it looks like you're running a 5% off sale. To me, that doesn't do anything. A 5% off sale just makes your number look weird. $17.10 for this hat. I'd rather you just market why wouldn't someone just pay $20 for this hat? $17.10 doesn't sound appetizing, but if you were to do the true fake sale, $40, half off, $20, okay, now I'm like, okay, he values this vintage hat at $40. That's not unreasonable for a vintage hat. Where are you going to find this hat? Half off? Okay, now I've got some juices flowing and I may want to buy it. 5% off is almost insulting. I'm like, why? Why 5% off? $17.10 makes me think there's something wrong with the hat. So perception is important here. Again, your store is really good considering the amount of sell-through rate. That means you're spending a lot of time looking at what the actual prices are for what this stuff sells for. So I can't commend you enough for that because most people don't understand that. And I think it's because Andy has a sales background. And in sales, you quickly realize nobody cares about your situation. They just want to know what they can get the item at. I'm getting a bunch of emails now that I just want to point out. This is poisonous mentality. Chris, I have 3 kids. I'm divorced. I'm this, I'm that. All of these things that you are mentioning, the people on eBay don't care. You can't put that into your listing and someone will pay $2 more. It's not relevant. It's not relevant to the situation. It's better to say, I have this stuff in my store. This is the market. How can I get to this place with this market? That's easier to understand. Just realize that your customers on eBay don't care what your situation is. You could be rich, or you could be poor, you can be a different race, doesn't matter. They're just looking for what's the right car, what's the right hat, what's the right electronic, what's the right iPad, what's the right vintage item at the right price. The best policies possible, meaning like free returns, free shipping, is what the customer is looking for. Now, as a seller, I actually don't have an issue with you charging a flat rate for shipping, but not necessarily for rare vintage items. For rare vintage items, Somebody who's going to spend $40 on a hat is not concerned about $5 shipping. Depends on who the market is that you're serving. There is no correct way to do any of this, but I also would drop promoted listings. I know that sounds scary, but don't waste 5-10 hours a week worrying about this. Don't do that. Spend that time sourcing a few more things, learning better categories. Look at Craigslist Hunter. He doesn't even have an eBay store. Like, he doesn't spend any time on that. All he does is spend time figuring out what's going to sell for what price. Hopefully that's useful, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.